The island of Heligoland marks the seaward approaches to Germany, standing off the sandy shores of the North German lowlands that stretch between Holland and Denmark and then on through the south coast of the Baltic Sea. These are a maritime people, bringing in their catches from the fishing grounds of the North Sea or working the great ocean ports of Bremen and Hamburg. Here they handle the major part of the imports and exports that have made present-day Western Germany into one of the important trading nations of the world. Under the shadow of giant dockside cranes, turning around the cargo carriers of a dozen nations, are Germany's rebuilt shipyards, now building and launching over 300 ocean-going vessels a year, many of them for foreign customers. Trading with the rest of the world is nothing new to Bremen and Hamburg. Ancient centers of commerce and former Hanseatic cities, they date their wealth and independence from medieval times. In sharpest contrast, Germany's mountainous south, Bavaria, the Federal Republic's largest Land or state, where unchanging picture book villages stand in peaceful countryside. Here, an essentially agricultural people follow a way of life that is close to that of their nearby neighbors in Austria and across the Alps in Switzerland. In these communities, tradition is as deeply entrenched in the way of dress and in the design of houses as in the idea of self-government expressed by village community councils.
Der Gemeinderat beschließt daher wie folgt. Es ist nun der Antrag von allen Seiten beleuchtet worden und ich bitte nur darüber abzustimmen. Wer ist für den Antrag, möge die Hand erheben.
But if they cling to the politics of their parish and to the daily round of their own way of living, it is to the capital of their Land, in this case Munich, that they look for efficient state government. One of Germany's great treasure houses of art and a famous center of good living, this southern city is a favorite with thousands of foreign tourists every year. Dominating the city is the home of Bavaria's parliament, the seat of independent state government headed by its own prime minister and cabinet, and an informal playground during the summer vacation. Bavaria is one of the 10 constituent states of the Federal Republic of Germany, with which Free Berlin is associated. The new federal capital is Bonn. In truly equable Rhineland manner, the people of Bonn have never permitted their promotion to the citizenship of the temporary capital to disturb them greatly. A university city, and once residence of the archbishops and electors of Cologne, Bonn seems still slightly surprised to find its waterfront graced by the clean, functional lines of brand new government buildings that overlook the River Rhine, the busy 500-mile highway of Western European trade. President Heuss is the first head of state of the Federal Republic of Germany. A new president is elected by the Federal Assembly every 5 years. One of the most visited buildings in Germany is the new Bundeshaus, or Chamber of Deputies, to which 53 million Germans send 519 representatives chosen in general elections every 4 years.
Versuch gemacht worden ist, die Gefahr einer dauernden Teilung unseres Volkes und die Gefahr schwerer seelischer Konflikte für Millionen von Menschen unseres Volkes zu vermeiden.
But if the opinions of the opposition leader of the Bundestag may clash with those of the government, they would certainly agree on one thing, that an end must be found to the present division of Germany, now deeply affecting every aspect of the nation's life. And not the least, travel. To journey east across Germany means passing through the Iron Curtain at one of a handful of tightly controlled crossing points where the division of the world begins. Facing the Federal Republic behind the thick black line, the barbed wire and the minefields of the Iron Curtain, are countries and territories sealed off from the West by their communist rulers. For those Germans who live behind the Iron Curtain, the one open window on the free world is that part of Berlin, the former capital, that is governed by the laws of the Federal Republic. In the heart of the city, and hard by the Brandenburg Gate that marks the division between East and West, is the ruin of the shattered Reichstag building. Here, the First German Republic came to a violent end in 1933, weakened by continuing economic and political crises and destroyed by the brutal methods of totalitarianism. From the top of the famous Funkturm, the Eiffel Tower of Berlin, visitors can look into the first few miles of Soviet-controlled German territory to which democracy has never returned, and where some 18 million Germans are still denied the elementary rights of self-determination and free elections. This massive oppression has stimulated a flood of refugees that reaches between 500 to 1,000 every day. Within 10 years, 2.5 million men and women have made the one-way trip to freedom, together with 9 million more Germans expelled from eastern territories now under Polish and Russian administration. Scattered throughout Western Germany, the presence of these refugees has concentrated about 3/4 of Germany's pre-war population into an area half the size of the country in 1938. The arrival of these homeless and penniless millions carried with it the elements of potential economic disaster. Perhaps the greatest achievement of the Federal Republic has been not merely to absorb this human burden, but to transform it into an important asset for today's prosperity. West Berlin itself is a symptom of this success story. Like the rest of Germany, it has come back to life through a colossal reconstruction program, that is one of the great building efforts in the post-war world. But it is back in Western Germany, a short flight across the Iron Curtain, that the Federal Republic's prosperity is really founded. One of the great complexes of heavy industry in Europe is concentrated here between the rivers of the Rhine and the Ruhr, drawing its strength and power from the vast coal field on which it stands. Among the Ruhr's workers, the miners are therefore prime contributors to the nation's wealth. Throughout federal Germany, wages are high, and cooperation between powerful unions and progressive management has permitted solid social benefits based on a high degree of automation and mechanization. This same worker-owner partnership safeguards a traditional respect for long and thorough apprenticeship and technical training. Simply stated, the result is a comeback that places Germany among the leading industrial powers of the world, with a level of production more than twice as great as before the war. Cut off from traditional food sources in East Germany and obliged to support a population that has increased by a quarter, this all-out effort is Germany's answer to the stark need of earning a living. She is a member of the European coal and steel community and now contributes more than half the coal mined by this six-nation pool and 40% of the steel. It is this strength that was added to the free world when the signing of the Paris Agreements made it possible for Germany to join Western European Union and to become the 15th member of the Atlantic Alliance. These agreements allow Germany to recruit and to organize armed forces within the framework of Western European Union and under the direct control of the Supreme Allied Commander, Europe. NATO bases already existed in federal Germany, and at one of them, an international jet pilot school, men from the United Kingdom, from Western Germany, from the United States, and the airmen of France and those of Italy work and train together. They are perfecting the unified 15-nation defense techniques that alone can safeguard the heritage of political and cultural freedom they hold in common. On the ground, wartime destruction has brought one great, if costly, compensation, the opportunity of beginning afresh. As befits the nation that was the first to establish a system of popular education, Germany seized the chance of a new start by building some of the most progressive schools in the world. In high schools and in most elementary schools, the primary foreign language taught is English.
Carola, go to the blackboard.
I look for the sponge. It is in the sponge box. I take it out of the sponge box. I clean the blackboard with the sponge.
The new Free University of Berlin brings the total number of universities in federal Germany to 16, together with a large number of technical colleges of comparable standing. Between them, these centers of higher education offer opportunities of study in every sector of art, culture, and science.
Auf diesem Grundstück, das wir als Beispiel gewählt haben, 10 Hypotheken lassen. Und das nun beispielsweise, nehmen wir an, der Hypothekengläubiger, der an 5. Stelle steht.
The famous German museum in Munich speaks of a nation's pride in its part in the industrial and technical development of the world. Visited by thousands of young Germans each year is the Memorial Hall, where the great scientists, researchers, and innovators of the past have their places of honor. One of the most visited corners of the museum houses the laboratory bench on which Nobel Prize winner Otto Hahn discovered the principle of the nuclear fission of uranium atoms by bombardment with neutrons. As with the new schools and universities of federal Germany, so wartime destruction also permitted the building of new theaters and places of entertainment along ultra-modern lines. Today, there are more than 100 theaters scattered among West German cities, of which this new municipal drama center in Münster is an outstanding example. Graduates of the new art schools have played a large part in the industrial design of consumer goods with eye appeal that not only boost sales abroad, but also make the average German interior a more attractive place. In the old medieval towns, this sense of form and beauty is firmly rooted in the carefully preserved monuments of the past, like Bamberg's famous 1,000-year-old cathedral. Outside, the life of this young nation continues under the shield that NATO has built, and to which Germany itself can contribute so much. For the Federal Republic needs peace in which to consolidate the gains she has made since the war's end, and to play her full part in the long-term development of the Atlantic community.